What an absolute wild night for our Chicago Bulls as they took Matas Buzelis, the hometown kid, with pick 11 in the 2024 NBA Draft. What's up, everybody? My name is Patrick Siepman, and coming up on today's show, I just wanted to recap my thoughts on the Bulls selecting Matas at pick 11. Then on the second half of today's show, we're just going to be recapping an absolute wild first round of the NBA Draft, and also give you guys my thoughts on what I think could be next for the Chicago Bulls. But if I had to give my grade for the selection of the hometown kid, went to Hinsdale Central High School in the Chicagoland area, if I had to give it a grade, it would be an A. This was great value. And, if you look at all the mock drafts that came out before the NBA Draft, they had Buzelis going, pick 5, pick 4, pick 6, and actually in ESPN's first mock draft that they ever put out dating back to last October, they actually had Buzelis being the number 1 pick in this year's draft, and, the Bulls got great value here. I absolutely love this selection, so let's break it down a little more. So, my number 1 pro on Buzelis is his athleticism. He is a freak athlete, no doubt about it. He can guard multiple positions, average over a block and over a steal of game this past season with the G League Ignite, and I think he's going to be, I think he's like kind of both things, where he is a developmental pick, but he's also a guy that can step in there and can contribute right away because of his, athletic ability. But it kind of have for him, he's got a super slim frame, but, he's kind of got a Christmas tree build where he's got super wide shoulders and very narrow hips, and normally guys who are built like that, it's easier for them to put on weight, so it's not really a big concern for me. But another pro I had when I'm watching his tape, he plays at his own pace, and when you're watching these G League guys, it's this AAU style of basketball. It's up and down on the floor, so it's really hard to really slow it down and play your own style of basketball. That's the thing I love the most out of Matas, is he's able to do that. And a con, and I see people talking about it all over Twitter already, is his 3-point shooting, and I understand that. But the thing I like about him the most is he's got the same release point every time, and it's like a very consistent jumper. And plus, his final year of high school, he actually shot 43% from downtown. So, I think his cons are something where it's like, they could be worked out, and I think he's going to end up being extremely, extremely effective for the Bulls. But he is from Chicago, Illinois, 19.7 years of age, 6'8", damn near 6'9", 197 pounds. So he's got really good size, really good athlete. And I think, I feel like he was a guy where it's like, if he went and played college hoops, we would be viewing him a lot more highly than we did. But, just be honest, not a lot of us are watching a lot of G League basketball, and we didn't really see him play, too much this past season. But I do remember a clip. It was him and, projected number 1 overall pick for next season, Cooper Flagg. They were playing one-on-one with each other, and Buzelis held his own. Obviously, him being a little older, helps that. But, he was going toe-to-toe with potentially the first pick of next year's draft. So I think this is a guy, he's got a high upside, and I think we could be looking back at this and being like, the Bulls got the best player in this draft at pick 11. I think he's got that type of potential. But Kevin O'Connor, wrote this up around Buzelis, saying he's a versatile offensive player who can be used in any scheme because of his high feel as a passer. Boost upside as a shooter, and he's super fluid dribbling into his step back from both mid-range and the 3. He actually hit a game winner this past season. It was Ron Holland. He drove right. He kicked it back to Buzelis, and he had a turnaround jump shot, and he was able to knock it down. But, a little bit more on him. He is one of the most versatile defenders in this class with the length to even take on centers. He's a super, super long player. He's going to be one of the best wing defenders, hopefully, in the league once he just continues to develop. But he's an elite athlete, can finish on top of the rim. I mean, you just go watch a highlight tape of him of this past season or back, watching his high school tape. Throughout the first 30 seconds of that, you are going to see him dunk on an opposing player. He's got that type of athleticism. Yes, he does have an inconsistent jump shot, and, it is a little robotic at times, but I almost like that when you're shooting the basketball, where it's like you have the same motion, you get to the same release over and over again, and I think his jumper is just going to be a reps thing. It's not like where it was, take Lonzo Ball, for example, where he needed to, change his form, change his jumper, and, I think he's, one of these guys where it's like, he just needs reps. And then I think he could be one of the best shooters, potentially on this Bulls roster. But his numbers this past season with the G League Ignite in 32 minutes a game, averaged 14 points, 7 boards, 2.1 blocks, which is fantastic. He did shoot under 30% from downtown, so that's a big reason why people are concerned about him. But, I like his jump shot. I think it's going to end up working out, here at the next level in the NBA. But, 44.5% from the field, very solid there. And overall, I just absolutely love this pick for the Bulls. And the thing I love the most about this selection is when he was drafted, he said in his interview, this is where I wanted to be. He had tears in his eyes. I think he's going to come in here. We talk about motivation all the time, for these athletes, like giving that, extra chip on their shoulder, giving that extra motivation to hit the gym. I mean, what other motivation do you need besides, you're going to be playing for the team you watched and you loved growing up? Like, I feel for that. Like, if I was ever drafted by the Bulls, I would be in the gym absolutely, every single day trying to get the most out of it. But if you guys want more around the Chicago Bulls heading into free agency, it starts Sunday night at 5 p.m. Make sure you guys do hit that subscribe button, lock us in as your go-to Bulls YouTube channel. I really appreciate it. And, hey, we're closing in on 7,500 subscribers. Or actually just crossed over 7,500. Let's get to 8,000. I would really, really appreciate it. But I do want to look back, just recap the draft with you guys. As, Zachary Richache going number 1. No real shocker there. He was the heavy favorite before the draft started. I like that fit with the Hawks. And, I like the fit with the, Wizards, getting Alex Sarr, that, rim protecting, lob threat that he is at the center position. Reed Shepherd, that was almost a lock before the draft of, if the Rockets did keep that pick, they were going to take Shepherd at number 3. But then I think my favorite pick of the draft, if it's not Buzelis going to the Bulls, I think it's got to be this San Antonio Spurs getting Stephon Castle. I think he's going to really work out. I mean, just the winning cultures he has played with throughout his career, like playing with UConn, winning a natty there. Now he's going to go play with Greg Popovich. Like, I'm a big believer that you are a product of your environment, and he has been in 2 great basketball environments, throughout his career so far. But the shocker of the night to me, also Ron Holland. I mean, going pick 5 to the Detroit Pistons. Thank you so much, Detroit, for doing that. I thought they were a team that could take Buzelis or Cody Williams, and obviously Cody did go the pick before for the Bulls, but Saloon going pick number 6, Klingon then going 7 to the Trailblazers. We were getting reports that the Grizzlies are trying to trade up to get Klingon, but that did fall through. But a team that did trade up, the Minnesota Timberwolves, trade up for Rob Dillingham. I did not have that on my bingo card whatsoever, so I like the pick for Minnesota there. But we carry on. Zach Edey going in the top 10. That was definitely a shocker. It kind of just seemed like the Grizzlies were like, hey, we're either going to take Klingon or we're going to take Edey. Tried to trade up for Klingon, couldn't get it done, so they're like, you know what, screw it. We'll take Edey at pick 9. But then Cody Williams with the pick before for the Bulls, who originally, I said my number 1 draft target heading into this was Cody Williams, mainly because I didn't think the Bulls had a chance to get Buzelis, as he was projected, to go top 6 in every mock draft I saw. But, if I had to, go back and say it before the draft, he would have been my number 1 choice. And Nikola Vucevic did go to the Thunder, their Josh Giddey replacement. But then Devin Carter, he was another potential pick for the Bulls, did go to the Sacramento Kings. Bub Carrington did go to the Wizards. Khalil Ware went to the Heat, another big guy to pair up with Bam. Jared McCain, TikTok star, going to the Sixers. Then another great pick. The Lakers taking Dalton Connect. He did slide in the draft. I know Bulls fans are a little upset that they didn't get Connect, but listen, my thoughts on this. If you're heading towards a youth movement and you are going to reset this timeline, I'd rather take the younger player, Buzelis, in comparison to Connect. But De Silva, he was also a potential pick for the Bulls. He went 18 to the Magic. Then Walter going to the Raptors. Jalen Tyson going to the Cavs. And then Yves Missi went to the Pelicans. Nuggets traded up for Ron Holland, as that's going to be a very interesting fit next to Jokic at pick 22. Then A.J. Johnson going to the Bucks at 23. Keyshawn George, the wing, going to the Wizards again at pick 24. Very interesting night for Washington. But then, pick 25, Pacome going to the New York Knicks. Doubt he's going to even be on that roster heading in the next season. Dylan Jones going to the Thunder as they traded back up. And then, tell you what, hometown kid, Terrence Shannon going to the Timberwolves. So Timberwolves clearly being aggressive in the guard department tonight. But then the Ryan Dunn pick for the Suns. I absolutely love that. You're getting a strong defender, to help, make the life of, Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, and Bradley Beal a whole lot easier. But then Isaiah Collier wrapped up was a pick before the last pick of the first round, heading to the Utah Jazz. And then Baylor Shireman, the sharpshooter, out of Creighton, shockingly was a first-round pick, in my opinion. Very curious to see how his game is going to translate, but I'm sure Boston will get the most out of him. So what's next for the Bulls here? So, I think the Spurs are still my team that could potentially trade for Zach LaVine. Like, you know, you talk about like them moving off pick 8, and I'm not saying that was a clear indication that they're in the trade market, but they had a chance right there to get a player that they really liked, and they didn't even get another first-round pick in this year's draft. So maybe they're going to hit the trade market. Maybe they try to target Zach LaVine and they say, hey, we'll give you Keldon Johnson. We'll give you, your pick back fully for next season. Take off the top 10 protected, and maybe they get it done. I just can't get out of my head that the Spurs are a perfect fit for Zach LaVine, and it's what my gut's telling me. So stay tuned for that. I could see that happening before free agency, breaks this Sunday. But the Bulls overall absolutely love this move of Matas, and I'm very curious to see what's next for Chicago. But you guys let me know, what is one move you want the Chicago Bulls to make next? I'll challenge you guys. I'll say you can't say trade Vooch or Zach LaVine. It may be hard as those are two obvious moves, but maybe you want to say re-sign Patrick Williams. That's also another move I would be thrilled about. But you guys let me know that down in the comments section. And also make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. One last reminder, I'd really appreciate it if you guys could help us reach 8,000 subs. But overall, a great night. Really couldn't be happier with how the board fell to the Bulls. I think they were the biggest winner of the first round. You can call it bias, you can call it whatever you want, but you're able to get the hometown kid, tremendous upside in a position of need. Like, it just checks every single box for this basketball team. So absolutely love the pick, and just also thank you guys so much for watching our content recently on the channel. It's been doing really well, so I definitely goes noticed by me. So just thank you guys so much, and we'll be back tomorrow morning. We're going to be breaking down Zach LaVine a little bit more in depth, so make sure you guys stay on the lookout for that. But see you guys next time. As always, go Bulls.